Hello.
I'm Dolly, pardon me. And just a few announcements to get us started for the evening. Thank you all, fans, for coming out and braving this wonderful spring weather we're having here in Wisconsin. Joining us tonight, we'll be seeing the Juniors Roller Derby at our halftime after we see the Unholy Rollers take on the Reservoir Dolls in our first bout of the evening. So at halftime, we'll have a Juniors Derby matchup.
I'm so excited to see those mad calves.
Yes. And we will, at our intermission, have our Dairyland Dolls wheel toss. So be sure to get wheels. When you walked in, you'll be able to purchase wheels as well as from Dairyland Dolls walking around throughout the night. These wheels, the purchase goes towards the Dairyland Dolls travel. And wheels are $3 each or 2 for $5. Also,
that's a good deal.
It sure is. Also, tonight's charity sponsor is the Foundation for Black Women's Wellness. So we want to thank that group. We're going to be donating a portion of our bout proceeds tonight. You can also support this wonderful organization. They are based here as a nonprofit organization committed to improving the health of African American women and girls across Dane County and Wisconsin. So if you head on down to the merch table, where you can find all kinds of wonderful merchandise for our teams, you can also purchase a shout out. That'll be a message that you can have myself or Nikki read on the microphone during the bout, and you'll also be giving additional funds to the Foundation for Black Women's Wellness. So
just keep it PG-13, please. We don't need to be reading any R-rated content on the microphone.
We also get to determine what is appropriate to read, so yay. It'll be so much fun tonight, Nikki, seeing the Reservoir Dolls take on the Unholy Rollers. And around the bout, we've got some great things going on. We'll tell you more about. We've got some other upcoming events. But before we get started, we want to know how many folks out there have never seen roller derby before? Anybody out there never seen roller derby before? Wow, well, if you've all seen roller derby, that's great. But we're also going to introduce the Wreckers Roller Derby League. Our Wreckers are here to give you a derby demo and how the game works. So let's give it up for Ironside. And
hey everybody, I'm
Derby.
Ironside from Wreckers Madison Roller Derby, and we're going to show you how to play. A roller derby bout consists of 2 30-minute halves made up of shorter periods called jams. 5 skaters from each team skate in each jam. These players are divided into 3 positions. At the front, we have the pivots and the blockers. All together, they form the pack. In the back, we have the jammers. These are the skaters that will be scoring points. They're easy to spot with the star in their helmets. When the ref blows one whistle, it signifies the start of the jam, releasing the pack and the jammers. The jammers try to make their way through the pack, helped by their own blockers and hindered by the other blockers. The blockers are not allowed to use their arms or elbows to stop the jammers, and the jammers cannot cut the track around the blockers. These or any other illegal moves will land the skater in the penalty box for 30 seconds. Oh, look, the blue jammer is out of the pack. The first jammer to legally get out of the pack obtains lead jammer status. The refs identify the lead jammer by pointing one arm at the jammer and the other arm in the air. Now the yellow jammer is out of the pack. She is not the lead jammer, but can still score points. The jam ref crosses their hands in front of them to indicate that the yellow jammer is not the lead jammer. On the second pass, the jammer scores points for every opposing skater they pass. The number of points scored are signaled by the jam ref. When they've had enough or to prevent another team from scoring, the lead jammer can call it off by placing her hands on her hips. The 4 whistles end the jam, and 30 seconds later, a new pack will enter the track, and we start the next jam. Simple enough? Now let's watch some roller derby.
All right, so that's a little bit of how roller derby works. And right now, I just wanted to take a quick moment to slow things down a little bit before we get our game started tonight. Some of you may have noticed that the Reservoir Dolls are sporting plaid tonight. And you'll notice that some of their skaters will be wearing plaid, ties, or skirts. Some of the non-skaters that you might see as well, or other skaters on other teams that might wear plaid, are doing so in honor of one of the Reservoir Dolls, Rebel with a Cause. Rebel with a Cause was drafted in 2010 and played on the Reservoir Dolls League, or on our league, as well as on the Reservoir Dolls team, until just a few years ago when she lost her battle with cancer and passed away. So Rebel was a wonderful, strong person and member of our league, and the Reservoir Dolls skate for those who can no longer skate, and do so wearing plaid in honor of Rebel with a Cause. So we want to take just a moment here to honor our skater, Rebel with a Cause. And you'll see so many ways in which we can honor our fallen skaters, or those that have gone before us. And we just want to take a moment to remember and let you all know what a wonderful person Rebel with a Cause was. So thank you. Let's hear it for Rebel with a Cause.
Thanks for those kind words, Dolly. That was wonderful.
All right, and now we are going to get this roller derby semifinals bout started. We are going to be introducing the Unholy Rollers first.
All right, so skating tonight for the Unholy Rollers. Let's hear it. Get those skaters pumped up. We've got 1, 2, 3, 1, the Rhubarbarian. Number 22, Tango de Muerte. 234, the Manipulator. 247, Dive Hard. Number 314, Gertrude Awakening. Number 428, Polyamorous. Number 55, Scarlet Osnaria. Number 617, Jinja Snap. 703, Cal Fire Warrior. Got a super fan up there. We got 739, Goldman Smacks. 7734, Hellwoods. Number 800, a Bada Boom Box. And 9mm Shenanigans. Joined on the bench tonight, we've got Category, Just Dallas, Skulls Be Crackin', Thrill Show, Ronnie Kickshins, Off Me Rocker, Pegasus, and Toast. Let's hear it for the Unholy Rollers!
All right, the Unholy Rollers tonight, coming off a season of undefeated.
That's right.
They are undefeated this season, winning all their games. But tonight will determine which team goes to the championships. And the Reservoir Dolls are taking on the Unholy Rollers. It's my pleasure to introduce to you this year's team of the Reservoir Dolls. Skating in number 00 is Little Lebowski. Number 105 is Barrel Roller. Number 12 is T-Rex. Number 13, Call It a Wild. Number 2, Critical Tits. Number 262 is Nat Splat. Number 270 is Cyanide. Number 5, Miss Mechanics. Number 8, Sassbot. Number 815 is Antimatter. Number 833, Honey Beast. Number 8990 is Frankie Fatal. And number 9160, Holly Hood. Your skaters tonight are supported on the bench by Lady Hoo-Ha, the Mean Queen, Bomb Chu, and Melee. Let's hear it for your Reservoir Dolls.
And welcome. That was Dolly Pardon Me and Darling Nikki bringing you our rosters for tonight's game. We are at the semifinals of season 15 for Madison Roller Derby. Unholy Rollers taking on the Reservoir Dolls. I'm Rich Mahogany.
And I'm the Goram Reaver.
Very excited to bring this game to you. As we said, a semifinal game. So the winner of this game will go on to face the winner of our next game to play in the championships on May 18th. So this matchup that we saw is a repeat of our second game that we saw for this season back on February 9th, where the Unholy Rollers took the win over the Reservoir Dolls 409 to 189. So,
quite an impressive score there, Rich.
yes, indeed. We're going to see what kind of changes have happened with both of these teams as we go into our semifinals. Real quick, like to shout out to our officials for this game: Rainbow Confection, Macromaniac, Mr. Wells, Misinformed, Book It, Keister Bunny, Show Nuff, Cordova, Just Danny, Rex Support, Def Nelly, Uno Moss, Roadblock, and Brazzle Dazzle. For our skating officials, we have Bjorn to Kill, A Gru, Johnny Zebra, Eddie Lizard, Dark Matter, No Ship Sherlock, Haley Hydra, and Cupcake.
And of course, if any of you are at all interested in learning more about officiating with the Madison Roller Derby, please email us at officials@madisonrollerderby.org. We always love to bring new people onto the crew.
Oh, that's right, and you don't have to have any experience with roller derby at all. We will train you up. But we are lining up for the first jam of this game, and with that whistle, we are into the action. For anybody who may not be so familiar with how roller derby is played, you see each team out there has a skater with a star. Out at the front there, we've got Ginger Snap for the Unholy Rollers, who has broken out of the pack first.
But taking a cut penalty and going on her way to the penalty box.
That's right. So if the jammer gets out first, they are able to get lead jam designation. That means they are able to end the play whenever they want by touching their hands to their hips. With either skater with the star in their helmet, once they've broken through the pack for the first time, then they become eligible to score points on their secondary pass. So right now, Call of DeWild, the jammer for the Reservoir Dolls in the black, that's number 13 out there. So she is still trying to fight through to pick up lead jam. Ginger Snap has served her 30-second penalty for that track cut and is now back in the action, forces her way through the pack. So she is now eligible to score points, but as she went to the penalty box, she is not eligible to have that lead jammer designation. That is still up for grabs for Call of DeWild and the Reservoir Dolls.
And actually, it looks like that's going to be no longer up for grabs. Call of DeWild has removed her helmet cover and passed it to her team's pivot, Slionide. And so Slionide will now be the jammer for the Reservoir Dolls, and pivots cannot earn lead jammer status.
Right, you are, Reaver. In fact, as soon as you take off that star, I believe you become ineligible to get lead jam. So with that, it means we will have a full 2-minute jam on our hands here. So Ginger Snap picking up a point for every opposing skater that she passes, so has now picked up a total of 12 points for the Unholy Rollers. Slionide, now the jammer active for the Reservoir Dolls, having received that star, working on scoring her first points of this jam.
Another 4 points for the Unholy Rollers just as the jam time winds down. That's going to bring 16 points for the Unholy Rollers in this jam. The Res Dolls did pick up 4 points before the jam ended.
So a strong start to this game for the Unholy Rollers. Taking a look at the penalty box, I believe it's empty, although yes, indeed it is. So we've got 5 on 5 on the flat track. Looks like the Reservoir Dolls are going to be sending up Nat Splat to jam in the red, in the black, my mistake. And for the Unholies in the red is going to be Gertrude Awakening. Nat Nat Splat up at the front of the pack, does get through on the outside to take lead jam for the Reservoir Dolls. Gertrude Awakening having the wall opened up for her by her blocker. I believe that was number 55. That'll be Scarlett Osnaria. So both jammers now eligible to score points, but Nat Splat, the one with the power to end this jam.
Both jammers through the pack, each having scored 4 points. Coming around for another scoring pass. Nat Splat trying to judge when she's going to end the jam or if she's going to let it keep going. Meanwhile, we have a penalty being called on Gertrude Awakening, going to the penalty box for a back block.
Good job there by Little Lebowski for the Reservoir Dolls, getting in the way of the Unholy's jammer, drawing that back block. So now this is a great opportunity for the Reservoir Dolls. Nat Splat calling off that jam after picking up 5 points. So the jammer for the Unholy Rollers will be iced in the penalty box. So a power start now for the Reservoir Dolls. See our instant replay here. Nat Splat cutting around to the outside, scoring the final points of that jam. And we are back into the action. Barrel Roller wearing the star for the Reservoir Dolls in black. Gertrude Awakening starting from the box for the Unholy Rollers in red.
Barrel Roller knocked to the outside by the Unholy Rollers wall. Has to recycle. Comes back in, stymied at the outside line again.
Critical Tits getting up into the business of the Unholy wall, breaking that up. However, the Unholies are able to come back together before Barrel Roller can get through. Gertrude Awakening now back on the track. Lead jam is open, and Gur is through on the inside to take lead jam for the Unholy Rollers.
And it looks like Manipulator going to the penalty box on a forearm penalty. Looks like it took the refs a while to get her attention and get her off the track, but she's finally on her way there.
Barrel Roller through, eligible to score points. Now is Gertrude Awakening working on her scoring pass as well. Taken to the outside, gonna try that inside line. There is a tripod blocking at the top for the Reservoir Dolls. Nice dodging the hit by Hollywood for Gertrude Awakening there. Picks up 4 points for the Unholies. Holly Avarice heading to the box for the Unholy Rollers. That's going to be a multiplayer block. So multiplayer blocks occur when you link arms with your teammates, and then if a jammer targets that link and you don't immediately drop it, then that multiplayer block will be called and off to the box with you for 30 seconds.
Another completed scoring pass for Gertrude Awakening, bringing the Unholies up to 33 points in this game so far.
So we see now Barrel Roller has removed this jammer star. Now it is a perfectly valid strategy to just remove the star and kind of stash it, say, will she pass it? Will she keep jamming? Causing a little confusion on the track. The jam will be called. A grand total of 16 points for the Unholies that jam, 3 for the Reservoir Dolls, as the Unholies start to cement a bit of a lead starting here. And we'll take a quick break here. Thank you for joining us with Madison Roller Derby. We'll be back in just a moment.
And welcome back to the Roller Derby action. I'm the Goram Reaver.
And I'm Rich Mahogany. We are into jam number 4 here between the Unholy Rollers and the Reservoir Dolls. Call It a Wild jamming for the Res Dolls. Runs up the inside line to take a lead jam. Jamming against Shenanigans for the Unholy Rollers in red. Both jammers are out. Shenanigans managing to get up to the front of the pack will force the call off. Waiting for confirmation from our referees, for our skating officials here. Eddie Lizard showing us a single point for the Unholy Rollers. None up from Johnny Zebra for the Reservoir Dolls. So a 1-0 jam in favor of the Unholy Rollers will get us a quick next jam. Nat Splat returns to the line for the Reservoir Dolls. Trying to run a little bit of distraction there, says, look. But no. All the Unholy Rollers blockers are well aware of her shenaniganery. Tango de Muerte wears the star for the Unholy Rollers in red. Nat Splat trying to find some daylight on the outside. Takes a hit from Rue Barbarian, but will stay in. Nice cut to the inside. However, the Unholies have now had a chance to get their wall together. Nat Splat having a little bit of trouble getting around that, but some beautiful offense from the Reservoir Dolls will get Nat Splat out to take lead jam.
Tango de Muerte, meanwhile, trying to get back past that front wall of the Reservoir Dolls. Unfortunately, the Reservoir Dolls losing one of their blockers to a multiplayer block on that play.
Res Dolls still holding firm now with 1 to beat. Cyanide will force Tango de Muerte to the inside, going to force her to recycle back into turn 3 as Nat Splat is through for 4 points.
Beautiful work up front by Nat, getting past that final Unholy Roller blocker. And now Tango de Muerte has also completed a scoring pass.
Reservoir Dolls doing a good job of breaking up this unholy wall, preventing them from getting together, but they are able to reform at the front when it counts and force Nat Splat to the inside. Tango de Muerte through on turn 1 for 4 points as Cyanide is lost to the box for the Reservoir Dolls.
And that was actually Tango's first scoring pass. I misspoke earlier because of the recycling. She did still need to complete her initial pass, which is why we see only 1 scoring pass has gone up for the Unholy Rollers. Our score is now 42 Unholies, 20 for the Res Dolls, and we still have 21 minutes to go in the game.
8 points, the biggest jam put up by the Reservoir Dolls thus far. And we see a Nat Splat so far with a 100 lead percentage for the Res Dolls. Going into this next jam, jam number 6, we're going to see Barrel Roller jamming for the Reservoir Dolls in black up against Jinja Snap for the Unholies in red. Jinja Snap firing through the pack, picks up lead jam. And Ginge with a beautiful run up the inside line will take a quick scoring pass in this jam. Barrel Roller still working on the initial pass, trying to get by the braced 2 wall of blockers up at the front of the pack. Ginge around for another 4 points for the Unholies.
It looks like we have another multiplayer block being called on the pack. This time Scarlett Osneria from the Unholy Rollers heading to the box for that penalty. Meanwhile, Jinja Snap coming back around for a scoring pass as Barrel Roller is still trying to make her way through the pack.
Jinja Snap has been putting up a lot of points for the Unholy Rollers all season long. I believe she's been, if not the top scoring jammer every game for them, she's been very close. So far, Ginge with 36 of the Unholy's 62 points. Picks up 4 more on that pass, up on 20 thus far for this jam.
And 4 more puts her at 24. She is by far the highest scoring jammer of this game at this point, Rich Mahogany.
You are right, the Goram Reaver. Ginge not gonna cut this jam short anytime soon, is through for 4 more points. Res Dolls have passed the star on over to Cyanide, who's through, has picked up 4 points thus far, but Jinja Snap just on a tear and getting the sign from the bench, just keep it going. When you've got momentum like this, there is no sense in calling it quits. There are 5 seconds left. See if you can get those 4 more points on that pass. She does.
Amazing. That is an incredible 36-point pass for Jinja Snap of the Unholy Rollers. That is a high-scoring jam, no matter how you slice it.
Absolutely.
Whatever game you're talking about.
Has just about doubled the score of the Unholy Rollers in that jam 6.
There is a little bit of weather out there right now. Those of you watching this on the television, remember that big late April snowstorm we had?
Like every year.
You know, when the roads get messy, you don't have to do the driving. Union Cab wants you to get home safe when you roll out of the Bout. You can download their app or you can give them a call at 242-2000. And we do thank Union Cab for being one of our sponsors.
So you can see here on the screen, we've got our penalties showing so far. Unholy Rollers have picked up a 7 total. Reservoir Dolls with 3. Nobody's picked up more than 2, so nobody in any real penalty trouble. If you're less familiar with the game of roller derby, you can pick up 6 penalties. Once you get that 7th, though, you are done playing for the night.
You know, Rich, if you like to watch skaters wreck it up on the track, you can also take a chance to wreck it up in outer space.
Really? I do love space.
Terciops Truncatus Studios is bringing our space opera The Day We Fought Space to a mobile device near you with dozens of zany spacecraft, every bit as unique as your favorite skaters.
It's been a really fun game to keep track of the development on. Really excited to be able to get that on my Android device one of these days, but until then, I will wait patiently.
And that is a Derby-owned business, so how could you not want to play their game?
True that. We are back into the action. Gertrude Awakening jamming for the Unholy Rollers up against Call It to Wild for the Reservoir Dolls. Gertrude Awakening is through for lead jam.
Ms. Mechanics for the Reservoir Dolls going to the penalty box off that interaction that got Gertrude Awakening the lead jammer status. Now Gertrude is back and zipping her way through the pack. Slick like butter.
Like butter. So we will say, so far, each team has picked up lead jam 3 times in this game. Obviously, the Unholies with that big, 28-point jam we just saw?
36.
36. See, my math. Yeah, dude, my math is terrible. I can't remember what just happened.
Okay.
Good looking out, Reaver. Appreciate you.
I got your back.
All right, so we're going to take a quick moment here. So roller derby is a full contact sport. Occasionally there are injuries, so we're just going to check in. We have a down skater here. All right, we are back into the action. Nat Splat jamming for the Reservoir Dolls up against Shenanigans. Shenanigans takes lead jam for the Unholy Rollers in red, though Nat Splat is hot on her heels.
Still about half of the first period to go here in this game. Unholy Rollers at 86 points, Reservoir Dolls at 27. Shenanigans and Nat Splat have each just completed a scoring pass for 4 points apiece.
So this will be 4 lead jams in a row for the Unholy Rollers. Really starting to open up this score lead, though the Res Dolls now a very aggressive jam do manage to hold it out.
Oh, always love to see that post-jam camaraderie between
Absolutely.
the jammers.
So we are all playing against each other here on home teams, but this is all one league. We are Madison Roller Derby. And you can see here, we have the Dairyland Dolls as represented by Thrill Show, bench coach for the Unholy Rollers. They're our travel team who go out and play roller derby on a global scale. We'll tell you more about that, but for now, who do we got jamming, Reaver?
We have Tango de Muerte, number 22, is jamming for the Unholy Rollers. Meanwhile, Barrel Roller is jamming for the Reservoir Dolls. She is one of our rookies and has just taken lead jammer status.
Tango de Muerte out as well. Got a bit of a jammer rage. Tango, takes Barrel to the outside. So Tango de Muerte, not the lead jammer, but is now the jammer in the lead, will skirt around the outside, picks up 4 points for the Unholy Rollers. Barrel Roller into the pack now, trying to push her way through. T-Rex trying to get in there, playing a little bit of offense for Barrel, but Barrel's going to be forced to the outside and will call off the jam.
2 points up for Barrel Roller on that pass. And she was able to end it before Tango de Muerte picked up any more points for the Unholy Rollers.
So will be a 4-2 jam in favor of the Unholy Rollers, bringing our score to Reservoir Dolls 33, Unholy Rollers 94. And we've got 15 minutes remaining to play in this first half.
Looks like we've got Ginger Snap and Holly Hood lining up for jammer duties this jam. Ginger Snap, of course, for the Unholy Rollers. Holly for the Reservoir Dolls. Looks like a lot of action right off the start line, but Ginger Snap gets through the pack and takes lead jammer status.
So the Unholy Rollers do go into this jam at a 4-3 pack advantage. Reservoir Dolls with critical tits in the penalty box. Ginger Snap breaks through the pack, picks up 4 points as Holly Hood is now through herself. Now eligible to score points for the Reservoir Dolls. Res Dolls Wall trying to put on the brakes, but Ginger Snap just pushing them forward, ends up tearing through them. Will pick up 4 more points for the Unholy Rollers.
Holly Hood working hard at the outside line, but getting pushed out repeatedly by the Unholy's blockers. Ginger Snap now taking that same outside line more successfully for another 4 points. Holly sneaks by on the inside, putting up 4 points for the Reservoir Dolls.
Very nicely positioned offense by the Reservoir Dolls. They are sectioning off all of the Unholy blockers to the outside of the track, opening up that inside line for Holly Hood. 16 points so far have been picked up by Jinja Snap for the Unholies. Is now halfway to her, well, just about halfway to her record for this jam of 36, or for this game of 36 points in the jam. She's going to be knocked to the inside, forced to recycle all the way back to the back of the pack. Holly Hood up at the front. Does have one to beat, but Bada Boombox coming out of nowhere, forces her to the outside, will make her recycle all the way back through that pack. So another fight through the pack for Holly Hood.
Jinja fights her way out the front of the pack, puts 4 more points up for the Unholies, bringing their score this jam to 20.
Jam will be called. Total of 8 points for the Reservoir Dolls, 20 points up for the Unholy Rollers. And here we get another shot of that nice hit by Bada Boombox, breaking up Holly Hood's momentum, forcing her to recycle into the back
Wonderful
of the
hip
pack.
check there.
It was textbook.
It's gorgeous.
So we are lining up for Jam 11. Nat Splat wears the star for the Reservoir Dolls in black, up against Gertrude Awakening for the Unholy Rollers in red. And Gertrude Awakening, number 314, your lead jammer for the Unholy Rollers. Nat Splat, number 262, still working on that scoring pass. T-Rex heading to the penalty box for the Reservoir Dolls. As Gertrude Awakening is through, picking up the first 4 points of this jam. Nat Splat now having completed her initial pass, eligible to score points.
And Gertrude trying to call off the jam at the outside. Brings the fight to a close. 6 points on that jam for the Unholies, 3 for the Reservoir Dolls.
So we were talking earlier a little bit about the Dairyland Dolls, the travel team here fielded by Madison Roller Derby. We've got a number of events that these folks are going to be competing at in the coming days. Next up is going to be the Midwest Brouhaha. It's the 10th annual, hosted by Brew City Bruisers. That's going to be happening in Milwaukee, May 31st through June 2nd. But we are back into the action. It's an exciting time, but not quite as exciting as Shenanigans taking lead jam for the Unholy Rollers. Barrel Roller jamming for the Reservoir Dolls, trying to work her way through that pack. Will get held up a bit by Polly Avarice. She does end up shouldering her off, though. Is forced to recycle to the back. Almost through on the inside, but is going to be taken in by Hellwoods.
Shenanigans being held up at the front of the pack by the Reservoir Dolls wall. It's working hard to get through. Meanwhile, Barrel Roller has slipped past that wall and out the front of the pack, completing her initial pass. Both jammers coming around for another try at some points.
Nice toe stop work, keeps Barrel Roller on the track. However, is forced out. That's going to be by, I believe that was Hellwoods again.
Lots of nice tight pack work by the Res Dolls there. Antimatter and T-Rex and Slionide, as well as Critical Tits holding back Shenanigans. But Bada Boombox coming up and getting a little bit of offensive help. Unfortunately, that Res Doll wall got Shenanigans back to the outside and recycled her.
That's right. Very nice hit to the outside by T-Rex there is going to force that recycle on Shenanigans. She does make her way back up to the front of the pack. T-Rex coming in to try for another hit to the inside. Shenanigans will shake it off. Coming around the outside, will call off the jam. Does not pick up any points on that pass. Will be a grand total of 12 points for the Unholies that jam, 3 for the Reservoir Dolls. So the Dairyland Dolls heading to Midwest Brouhaha at the end of May. After that, they are going to be heading to Denver, Colorado for Besterns 2019, hosted by Rocky Mountain Roller Girls. That's going to be June 7th through the 6th. That same weekend, the Dairyland Dolls B team are going to be heading to St. Paul, Minnesota for the Have a Minnesota Nice Day event. And that hosted by Minnesota Roller Girls. So a lot of amazing roller derby action happening in these coming months. But back to the action on the track. What the heck is happening, Reaver?
Well, Tango de Muerte has just taken lead jammer status for the Unholy Rollers, and Holly Hood is getting hung up in the pack as she tries to score points and complete an initial pass so that she might be eligible to score points for the Reservoir Dolls.
And the goal here being putting up points. So Tango de Muerte going to push through the Res Dolls wall. Will pick up 4 more points for the Unholies. Hollywood taken to the inside by the Rhubarbarian, trying the outside line, but not finding any further purchase there, as the Unholy wall is just doing such a great job being everywhere laterally on that track.
Hollywood has removed her star helmet cover, but we have not yet had a pass to her pivot Slionide.
Slionide wisely positioning herself up at the front of the pack. Obviously best to be able to pass the star over several opposing blockers rather than laterally, just to make your pivot have to fight through the pack herself.
Slionide already having taken the star pass twice this game so far.
Tango de Muerte goes round and round. That's going to be 4 more points, 16 total for the Unholy Rollers.
Holly Hood just running into so many problems at the back of the pack there.
The Unholies are just doing such a great job of boxing her out and just keeping at least one blocker floating out there to be able to catch her when she jukes around. She is a very quick jammer, but the positional plays here by the Unholy Rollers are really top-notch.
Absolutely. And the jam comes to an end as another 3 points go up on the board for the Unholy Rollers. Res Dolls held scoreless, no initial pass complete on that jam.
We're going to take just a moment here. We'll be back in a moment here with Madison Roller Derby. And welcome back. We are here into the final minutes of the first half of the game between the Unholy Rollers and Reservoir Dolls semifinals for season 15 for Madison Roller Derby.
So many years.
All the years.
All the history. All the memories.
So we are into it looks like an official review has been called for by the Reservoir Dolls. Oh, no, I'm sorry. That is just a team timeout. So Reservoir Dolls going to just take a moment to get a bit of a breather here. Unholy's have pulled quite a bit ahead. It's going to take some work to start closing up that score gap.
Well, while they do that, this timeout has been brought to you by the Cooper's Tavern. Do you need to fuel up before a bout? Whether you need some liquid courage or a cozy place to recoup, the Cooper's Tavern has you covered. Named Madison's best restaurant, the Cooper's Tavern is right on the Capitol Square. They're open 7 days a week. They serve elevated pub fare and an extensive selection of craft beers, wines, and whiskey from around the world. That's Cooper's Tavern, bringing you this team timeout.
Thank you very much to the Cooper's Tavern. We are now back into the action, or just about ready to. And you know, I feel refreshed. Like, after that timeout, like I went to the Cooper's Tavern and had a delicious imbibe.
You look refreshed.
I feel it. It's amazing. Jinja Snap wears the star for the Unholy Rollers in red, going against Nat Splat for the Reservoir Dolls in black. Nat Splat takes lead jam, breaking up a 4-lead jam streak for the Unholy Rollers.
Jinja Snap out of the pack, right behind Nat Splat. Both are in scoring position. And Jinja Snap has zipped her way through the pack while Nat Splat keeps getting recycled back to the back. That's 4 points for the Unholies, while Nat Splat still works on scoring for the Res Dolls.
So this will be the first jam of the game since the first jam that Jinja Snap has not taken lead jam for the Unholies. And in that first jam, nobody got lead. So really, this is the first jam where somebody has gotten lead that Jinja Snap was skating where she did not get it.
Snatched out from under her.
If anybody got it, it was her, but not this jam. So it's still gonna.
Good work to Nat Splat on that.
Absolutely. So the Unholies will pick up 8 points on that jam. Reservoir Dolls pick up 4. Going into this next jam, we will see a 4-3 pack advantage in favor of the Reservoir Dolls. Or I'm sorry, in favor of the Unholy Rollers. Res Dolls with only 3 blockers on the track. Barrel Roller jamming for the Res Dolls against Gertrude Awakening for the Unholies. Gertrude forces her way up to the front of the pack. Now only 2 blockers to beat. That's going to be Antimatter and Slyanide. Antimatter with a nice hit on the inside. And then Sly taking her to the out. So beautiful defensive work here by the Reservoir Dolls. Gertrude Awakening, though, not to be denied, will get through up at the front to take lead jam for the Unholy Rollers.
T-Rex returning to the track from the penalty box, bringing the Res Dolls up to a full pack. Meanwhile, Gertrude Awakening completing another scoring pass, 4 more points up on the board for the Unholies. Barrel Roller still struggling to get through the pack, has removed the star and passed it to her pivot. Slyanide now the jammer for the Unholy Rollers, Reservoir Dolls.
Oh, that is a delicious Ian's Pizza star pass here for the Reservoir Dolls. Slyanide now looking to make some more of those pivot turn jammer points, of which she has picked up 11 thus far in this game.
Again, this is her 3rd time receiving the star as pivot. So she's definitely helping out her team in that position. Meanwhile, Gertrude Awakening is going to go to the penalty box for, I believe it was a low block penalty.
You are correct, Reaver. So that'll be 30 seconds where the Reservoir Dolls enjoy a Jim's Coins Power Jam.
Oh, I just love saying that. Jim's Coins Power Jam.
It's not even alliteration, but it feels good.
It does. It really does.
So Slyanide trying to do what she can in this power jam, but getting roughed up on the track there. Rhubarbarian taking it to her. With that, the jam will come to its natural 2-minute conclusion. That will, though, ice the Unholy's jammer in the box. So power start for the Reservoir Dolls as we go into Jam 16. Replay here of Gertrude Awakening taking that inside line, jumps right over Critical Tits. Tits trying to get in the way, but not quite able to close the door in time.
I want to give a quick shout out to Hinckley Design and Production. We'll tell you a little more about them after this jam, though.
So Holly Hood with the power start for the Reservoir Dolls. Great footwork on that outside line. Gets her lead jam. I got to say, jumping over somebody on the outside line, particularly on the outside apex, that is hard to land.
Yes.
You are basically breaking physics by making that happen. And Holly Hood's done it.
Ginger Snap knocked to the outside and recycled to the back of the pack there. She has removed the star and has just passed it to her pivot, Hell Woods. Hell Woods now the jammer for the Unholy Rollers.
This will be the first star pass of the game for the Unholy Rollers. And that will force the call off by Holly Hood. Going to be a total of 3 points that jam for the Res Dolls, holding the Unholy scoreless. And that will actually be the first jam of the entire game that the Unholy Rollers have not managed to score any points.
Amazing.
So a great defensive
well
hold
done
there
to
by
the
the
Res
Res
Dolls.
Dolls.
Again, a big shout out to Hinckley Design and Production. If you're enjoying this broadcast, this live stream, we owe our thanks to Hinckley Design. If you need quality commercial video or live streaming, you can give them a call. They've been with MRD since 2008, and their award-winning services can help your business also be victorious.
They are bringing you the action on the track right now as Shenanigans takes lead jam for the Unholy Rollers, going against Nat Splat, who has been recycled back behind the Rhubarbarian into turn 1. Unholy's able to get their brace 2-all at the back of the pack. Hellfire Warrior just waiting at the tip of it, though, to reform the tripod once Nat Splat broke through it a bit. They are not able to hold her forever, though. She is now through and eligible to score points. Shenanigans picks up 4 more points on that pass, bringing the total up to 8 for the jam. Calls off the jam. And a single point up for the Reservoir Dolls. No, I'm sorry, that's 2. There are 2 fingers up in the air. So 2 points for Res Dolls brings the score to Unholy's 187, Res Dolls 59. As the period clock ticks away, we are at less than 40 seconds remaining to play in the first half.
This will likely be our last jam of the game. We've got Tango de Muerte taking the star for the Unholy Rollers.
And it's actually going to be Nat Splat jamming again for the Reservoir Dolls. Right at the end of that last jam, she picked up a back block penalty. So, and Jim's Coins power jam here for the Unholy Rollers. Tango de Muerte is your lead jammer. Pack doing, Unholy's doing what they can to open up that Res Dolls wall for Tango de Muerte. However, they're able to reform quite effectively up at the front of the pack. Tango does with a little dip to the outside, will pick up 4 more points. Nat Splat there just released from the box, back in the action. Helmet cover in hand.
Nat Splat getting knocked to the outside at the turn and recycled to the back of the track while Tango de Muerte works her way through and is fighting out at the front, scoring more points for the Unholies.
Nat Splat back on the track. Her pivot, Miss Mechanics, has gone to the penalty box, so Nat Splat now donning the star. However, that brace 2 wall for the Unholies at the back of the pack. It's Butta Boombox, Hellwoods, and that's number 55,
that
Scarlet
is Scarlet
Osneria.
Osneria.
So a very effective blocking chunk for the Unholy Rollers. And with that, we do roll into the halftime, Reaver.
We do, Rich Mahogany. Our current score, Unholy's 199, Reservoir Dolls 59. We will see you all again shortly.
We'll be back.
My name is Natalie Hinckley, owner of Hinckley Productions. I've been doing video since I was a kid. Now I've built this video production company, and for the past 10 years, I get to do what I love every single day. We partner with clients to tell their stories, shooting and editing videos for many brand names that you'd recognize and local businesses alike. In short, video spots used online, through social media, and broadcast. The live production division of the business utilizes multi-camera switching, projection, and live streaming. We have 2 studio locations, one in Madison, the other one in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. Here we meet with clients, we edit all of our videos, and we also house our production equipment. Now, most of our shoots are done on location. We can shoot here or access larger facilities as needed. We have a number of different cameras to work with depending on your job requirements. Everything from a simple GoPro to a high frame rate 4K camera. When you see our van rolling through town, you'll know that we've got all the right tools to get the job done. Hinckley Productions is built upon authenticity, diversity, reliability, and quality. We hope to work with you on your next project.
Welcome back. We are here at the second half of the first semifinal game of Madison Roller Derby's 15th season between the Unholy Rollers and Reservoir Dolls. I am Rich Mahogany.
I'm the Goriam Reaver.
So we've had a hard-hitting, fast-paced first half so far. Unholy Rollers in a dominating lead, 199 to the Reservoir Dolls 59. Taking a look at some of the stats of the first half, though the Reservoir Dolls have picked up lead 6 times, but have only outscored the Unholy Rollers twice. So Unholies with many double-digit jams. They had a 36-point jam back in Jam 6 made by Jinja Snap. 23 more points put up later in Jam 13 by Tango de Muerte. Reservoir Dolls have not picked up a bigger than 8-point jam thus far. High scores for the Reservoir Dolls going to be Nat Splat with 26. Behind her is Slyanide with 14. Hollyhood with 11. Barrel Roller with 8. For the Unholy Rollers, our high score is Jinja Snap with 80, Gertrude Awakening with 51, followed by Tango de Muerte with 31, and Shenanigans with 25. And Reaver, we are back in the action.
We are indeed. We have Jinja Snap jamming for the Unholy Rollers and taking lead jammer status. Meanwhile, Nat Splat still working on making her way through the pack as the Reservoir Doll jammer finally makes it out as Jinja Snap is completing her first scoring pass. And both jammers are coming back around for a little more action.
As we were saying, these are the high-scoring jammers for both of these teams. Nat Splat now through for the first 4 points of the half for the Reservoir Dolls. Ginger Snap has picked up 8 of her own. Both jammers seem content to run this jam as the pack digs in turn 3. Ginger Snap trying that inside line. The Res Dolls hold firm. That's Critical Tits, Cyanide, and Antimatter. She will end up being able to break through. That's 4 more points for the Unholy Rollers. Nat Splat around the Rhubarbarian does get through for her own 4-point scoring pass.
And Ginger Snap completing another 4-point scoring pass for the Unholy Rollers just before bringing the jam to an end. Nice hard hit from Rhubarbarian on Nat Splat just as the jam ends. That brings us to 16 points this jam for the Unholies, 10 for the Reservoir Dolls.
So that'll actually be the biggest jam of the game for the Reservoir Dolls, 10 points.
I believe you are correct, Rich Mahogany.
That's right. So Unholy Rollers will be putting up, I can't see numbers from here.
Looks like we're going to have Barrel Roller for the Reservoir Dolls with Gertrude Awakening for the Unholy Rollers.
All right, you are, Reaver.
I do want to mention, you'll notice a lot of plaid today on the Reservoir Dolls. Several of them wearing plaid skirts. Also some plaid ties. That is in memory of former player Rebel with a Cause, who some of you may remember from about the last 10 to 5 years ago, who lost her fight with cancer about this time a few years back. And so every year at the end of April, beginning of May, plaid comes out for the Res Dolls in memory of Rebel.
That's a nice showing, nice memory, bit of team camaraderie. Gertrude
But
Awakening.
speaking of roller derby and
That's right.
today's game, Gertrude Awakening has taken lead jammer status and is scoring points for the Unholy Rollers.
Right, you are. So far has completed 1 scoring pass, is now recycled to the back, back behind T-Rex, if my eyes serve me. And they do this time. So Barrel Roller through, working on her, I believe this is her first scoring pass. She is now eligible to score points.
Yes, that is correct. Meanwhile, Tango de Muerte completing another, Gertrude Awakening completing another scoring pass.
Barrel Roller forced to deal with the full blocking force of the Unholy Rollers. I've seen they're trying to pass the star over to T-Rex. Might have seemed like T-Rex had
gave
it.
that right back because if you saw when that helmet cover got passed, it wasn't a hand-to-hand physical pass. Barrel Roller had actually tossed it over, and there was no grasp and release, which is considered an incomplete star pass. You have to both be holding on to it, and the jammer has to let go in order for that to be a legal star pass. So very good job by T-Rex to go ahead and give that helmet cover right back and say, no, I can't take this yet.
So we are back into the action. Hollywood wears the star for the Reservoir Dolls in black up against the Shenanigans for the Unholy Rollers in the red. Guns up at the front, only 2 to beat, Cyanide and Miss Mechanics. She will get through. Lead jam goes to the Unholy Rollers. And that will be their, so they had 5 leads in a row in the first half. And that is now the, there we go. I'm sorry, I'm getting information from our producer, our glorious producer, Bryant Mumble, tells me that coming from the first half, this is now the 5th lead jam in a row for the Unholy Rollers, 3rd of the half.
And Shenanigans getting recycled at the back of the pack there, but still making her way through to score points. Meanwhile, Hollywood has completed her initial pass, so Guns is going to go ahead and end the jam.
Shout out to our sponsor of Madison Roller Derby, Laura Realty Group. In the rink, you need helmet and pads, and in this real estate market, you need Laura Realty Group. An 8-point jam for the Unholy Rollers, holding the Res Dolls scoreless. Penalty box is empty as we go into jam number 4 of the second half. Tango de Muerte wears the star for the Unholies against Nat Splat for the Reservoir Dolls. Nat Splat up at the front of the pack, 1 to beat. Is taken to the outside by number 55, Scarlet Osneria for the Unholy Rollers. Was so close to being free. Actually did get lead jam for the Unholy Rollers. but now has to fight her way through that pack again as Tango de Muerte has completed her initial pass and is now eligible to score points.
So now Nat Splat has to decide if she wants to try and end this jam before the Unholy score any points, or if she wants to get out and try and score some of her own. Looks like we're going to go with option 2, as Tango de Muerte puts 4 points up for the Unholies, and Nat Splat finally completes her initial pass.
So Tango has now put up 8 points against the Res Dolls 0. Nat Splat going to call off the jam. Does pick up 2 points for her troubles on that last jam. And we're going to take a quick break here. We'll be back in just a minute. Thank you for watching Madison Roller Derby. Welcome back. We are here at the semifinals for Madison Roller Derby's 15th season. Reservoir Dolls taking on the Unholy Rollers. We are in flight in the second half. Unholy Rollers with a strong lead, 243 to the Reservoir Dolls 74.
And we now have Ginger Snap jamming for the Unholy Rollers against Barrel Roller for the Res Dolls. Some tight pack work, but Ginger Snap sneaking through on the outside to get lead jammer status, but has been recycled. So that's the second time in a row we've had a lead jammer get recycled after earning lead. And Ginge finally gets out, completing her initial pass. Barrel Roller still working to complete her initial for the Res Dolls.
So it looks like that lead jammer designation was rescinded from Ginger Snap. So she is no longer the lead jammer because she never was.
Okay.
She never was.
She must have had an improper pass at some point.
So Barrel Roller and the Reservoir Dolls presumably still open to get lead jam. Barrel trying to fight her way through, trying to find some purchase on the inside, but the door being closed by the manipulator on the inside.
And Barrel Roller has taken her helmet cover off and passed it to Ms. Mechanics, her pivot, making Ms. Mechanics now the jammer. And as we saw in the first period, the pivot cannot earn lead jammer status. So this will be a two-minute jam.
Right, you are, Reaver. So Miss Mechanics trying to get by that wall of the Unholy Rollers. Initially just using a blocking pair with a float, but now coming together in that brace 2 wall that we've all come to know and love. Ginger Snap forced to the inside, will recycle back behind Slynide.
We have a definite split in the pack makeup. All of the Res Dolls in the back with the Unholies at the front. Everyone focusing on defense right now. But Ginger Snap able to get by on the outside. Ms. Mechanics unable to complete the initial pass before the jam ends.
So I have some words for you, Reaver. Bold, creative, and unconventional.
Are these words about Tangent?
They are. In fact,
Amazing.
Tangent is the latest concept from the masterminds of Vintage Brewing Company. First and foremost, Tangent promises a unique offering of craft blues and elevated noms. Craft brews as well as blues. Maybe a little bit of blues.
You know.
But so guests can expect the amazing Vintage Brewing Company beers that they know and love, in addition to unconventional takes on traditional styles dreamt up by our clever brewmaster. Find us on East Washington Street.
It's not Memphis, but sometimes we get the blues in Madison. But not Gertrude Awakening, because she has just taken lead jammer status for the Unholy Rollers.
Hard to have the blues when you've got lead. Holly Hood jamming for the Reservoir Dolls does get through, now eligible to score points. Unholy's going to lose a blocker to the box.
Polly Avarice going to the box for a low block on that interaction with Holly Hood as she broke out of the pack.
Gertrude Awakening flying through the pack with 1 to beat in the form of Sasspot. A penalty now assessed against Gertrude Awakening. I missed the call. That's a back block penalty assessed to Gertrude Awakening. Sent her to the penalty box for 30 seconds. So now a Jim's Coins power jam for the Reservoir Dolls.
And we will see what they do with this. Holly Hood having gotten knocked to the inside with the helmet cover on the floor, but has picked it up and returned it to her head to continue jamming, taking the inside line. One of her, and somebody going to the box on a direction of gameplay. I believe that was one of the Res Doll blockers.
Gertrude Awakening is now back on the track, having served her penalty. Hollywood through on the outside. That's going to be 4 points up for the Reservoir Dolls. Hollywood flying through the inside, but is going to get tripped up on the in, forced to recycle.
And that is going to be another low block on Polly Avarice.
So Hollywood was supposed to recycle a little bit further back, however, she did not. So that is going to be a track cut penalty for her, just now making it to the penalty box. So it's going to be the full 30 seconds to start this next jam, where the Unholies will start with a Jim's Coins Power Jam. Big jam for the Unholies, 13 points to 4 for the Reservoir Dolls.
I do want to give a shout out to WORT 89.9 FM listener-sponsored community radio in Madison. Tune in any time of the day or night to hear great alternative music, news, and public affairs programming. Scheduled live streaming podcasts and program archives at WORT.org.
As we roll into jam number 7 of the second half, Shenanigans, your lead jammer for the Unholy Rollers. Hollywood still serving out the end of her penalty from the previous jam. But we'll be getting back into the action post-haste. Guns is through, picks up 4 points for the Unholy Rollers.
And this Jim's Coins Power Jam comes to an end as Hollywood returns to the track, ready to take on the Unholy Rollers pack in her initial pass.
Shenanigans getting around Hollywood at the back of the pack to take 4 more points for the Unholy Rollers. Hollywood trying to out-juke this brace 2-wall for the Unholy Rollers, but they're doing such a good job of being elastic. Now some offense being played by Little Lebowski for the Reservoir Dolls, trying to get Hollywood through. However, no daylight yet in sight for Hollywood.
Some nice defense there from Honey Beast and Little Lebowski, stopping Unholy Rollers jammer Shenanigans at the back of the pack. She was able to get through eventually.
So 4 more points added to the total of the Unholy Rollers. 20 points so far here for Shenanigans in Jam 7. And she's going for 4 more, Reaver. That's going to be 24 points total. Hollywood still trying to get through, trying to pass that star over to Miss Mechanics. Looks like the star, based on the change of pushing in the pack, it looks like Miss Mechanics now has that star. Little Lebowski at the front, ready to play some offense if needed, but the jam will be called. 27 points for the Unholy Rollers.
And we will be back to you in just a few moments for more roller derby action.
All right, we are back. I'm Rich Mahogany.
I'm the Goriam Reaver.
And we are watching the Unholy Rollers taking on the Reservoir Dolls here at the Season 15 semifinals for Madison Roller Derby. And we are right into the action as Nat Splat jams for the Reservoir Dolls in black up against Tango de Muerte for the Unholies in red. And lead jam is taken by Nat Splat.
Nat Splat is definitely doing the best at earning lead jammer status for the Reservoir Dolls. She's got a 50% lead jam percentage at this point.
That's right. She is also currently the high-scoring jammer for the Reservoir Dolls with 38 of their 78 points.
Ginger Snap, however, of the Unholy Rollers has broken the 100 mark.
So many points. So many roller derby points.
Of course, Ginger Snap not jamming this jam. This jam we have Tango de Muerte jamming for the Unholy Rollers, and she has just completed her initial pass. Nat Splat completing a scoring pass and ending the jam, putting 4 points up for the Reservoir Dolls, shutting out the Unholy Rollers.
So that will only be the 3rd jam of the game where the Reservoir Dolls have come out on top of the Unholy Rollers, and the 2nd jam of the game where they've managed to hold the Unholies down to 0 points for the jam. So going into this next jam, there will be a single blocker in the box for the Reservoir Dolls. That's Sasspot. However, she is standing, indicating that she has 10 seconds or less to serve on her penalty. Jamming for the Unholies, Jinja Snap barrels through the Reservoir Dolls blockers to take lead jam. Barrel Roller, the jammer for the Reservoir Dolls. Working her way through at the back of the pack. One to beat on the outside. However, Rhubarbarian and the Manipulator now able to get up in front of her, holding her back. Gives them enough time to have all the Unholy blockers getting up to hold her back.
Jinja Snap coming around for her second scoring pass on this jam. Working her way through the pack pretty quickly. Barrel Roller still trying to complete the initial.
Jinja Snap leaps up the inside. We'll take 4 more points for the Unholy Rollers. Unholies will lose one of their blockers to the box. That's number 739, Golden Smacks, heading to the box on a multiplayer block. Barrel Roller still working on that initial pass. The Unholy defense holding strong. As we were talking about before, Reaver, the Unholies just have very stretchy, elastic walls, and many of their blockers are very capable solo blockers and pair blockers. So we've seen a lot of them being able to handle their walls being broken up to catch that opposing jammer and then coming back together to hold strong. Jinja Snap through for 4 more points. That's going to be 20 total for the jam thus far.
Barrel Roller has removed the star cover, but has not passed it yet to her pivot, Ms. Mechanics. Does not mean it will not happen, but it did not as the jam comes to an end.
That it does. So a grand total of 22 points for the Unholy Rollers on that jam will be the second biggest jam of the half for the Unholy Rollers. The second one, or the biggest thus far this half, being Jam 7 on with 27 points. Thank you very much to Bryant Mumble for those delightful statistics.
And that brings Jinja Snap to 134 points in this game, which is quite easily the highest point total of any jammer.
It's true. So we are back into the action here. Holly Hood wears the star for the Reservoir Dolls against Gertrude Awakening for the Unholy Rollers. Gertrude Awakening pushing at the front of the pack, but needing to deal with all 4 of the Reservoir Dolls blockers, are managing to hold in firm. Little Lebowski now having to break off to Bridge as Gertrude Awakening breaks through the wall and takes lead jam for the Unholy Rollers.
Holly Hood getting knocked to the outside just before the turn and getting recycled to the back.
Gertrude Awakening pushing her way up to the front of the pack, is able to break through the Res Dolls wall. However, with a little bit of a tumble up at the front, now only has to get by Little Lebowski. She will break through. So that is 4 more points up for the Unholy Rollers.
And Res Dolls rookie T-Rex has gone to the penalty box for a destroying the pack penalty.
Hollywood still working on the initial pass. He's forced to recycle back behind Hellwoods. And again, we see that like Hellwoods with that one-on-one blocking being very effective. Now Res Dolls coming back to play a little bit of offense, trying to open up the wall. But again, Hollywood taken to the outside, pushed out by number 55, Scarlet Osnaria. Gertrude Awakening is around for 4 more points.
Nice hit from Slyanide to the inside line, taking Gertrude Awakening to the infield, forcing her to recycle behind the Res Dolls blockers. But she does not get stymied by that tactic. Completing another scoring pass, bringing her total for this jam to 20 points, shutting out the Res Dolls. Score now 341 Unholies, 82 Reservoir Dolls.
So you might not be able to hear it here on the stream, but if you were in the venue, you'd definitely be jamming out to the tunes of Saturn's 8 Entertainment, brought to you by DJ Andrew Larson, providing the soundtracks for the people of Madison with retro flair and a modern edge. So if you weren't able to join us here in the venue for this game to enjoy the game and the tunes, come and join us here at the Alliant Energy Center Coliseum May 18th for our championship game for Season 15. But we are back into the action. What's happening on the track, Reaver?
We have Shenanigans jamming for the Unholy Rollers and Nat Splat jamming for the Reservoir Dolls. The pack is pretty well split up with the Res Doll blockers in front, Unholy's in the back. Nat Splat breaks through the pack before Shenanigans can, takes lead jam. I'm sorry. Lead jammer status goes to Shenanigans just as Nat Splat comes around and passes her. They're both working on their scoring pass right now. And Shenanigans is going to end the jam. We've got 3 points for the Unholy Rollers, 1 for the Reservoir Dolls. That was a lot of fast action there, Rich Mahogany.
That certainly was, Goram Reaver. That was a nice jammer-on-jammer hit. Shenanigans taking Nat Splat out to the outside at the top of, or I guess at the bottom of turn 2. Does get through to take that, take the 3 points before calling off the jam. No, we are going to take a moment for an official timeout. That'll give us an opportunity to thank another one of the sponsors here at Madison Roller Derby. I'd like to give a shout out to our sponsor, Javon Al-Yasseri, psychotherapist with Madison Expressions Therapy. For over a decade, Javon has provided supportive, client-focused general mental health counseling for individuals, couples, and families in the LGBTQ community and their allies. Javon also specializes in providing gender identity counseling services for the transgender and gender nonconforming populations, taking an affirming approach towards each client's gender expression and goals. Private pay and sliding fee scales are available. For more information and to schedule your free phone intake appointment, please visit Javon's website at MadisonExpressionsTherapy.com. And with that, we are going to take a quick break here. We will be back to bring you the final minutes of this game in just a moment. Thank you for watching Madison Roller Derby. All right, we are back. In the waning moments of this official timeout, we've got 8 minutes and 21 seconds frozen on the clock. And Unholy's lead 344 to 83 for the Reservoir Dolls. And with that, we are ready to get back into the action.
Looks like we're going to have Barrel Roller jamming for the Reservoir Dolls up against Tango de Muerte jamming for the Unholy Rollers.
Penalty box is empty. That means we've got 80 wheels ablazing on the flat track as Tango de Muerte takes lead jam for the Unholy Rollers.
Barrel Roller working her way through the pack, getting stymied up front by Scarlet Osnaria and Pivot Hell Woods.
And so close to having one to beat there, but once again, the track awareness and the pack cohesiveness of the Unholy Rollers just really on full display today as they come up and get up in front of Barrel. She's still working on that initial pass. Tango de Muerte through, picks up 4 more roller derby points on that pass. Barrel now up at the front, but takes a shoulder, forced to the outside by Hell Woods.
And Barrel Roller finally through at the front of the pack, completing her initial pass. Ready to come around and start scoring points for the Res Dolls.
Res Dolls are going to lose critical tits to the penalty box. That's going to be a forearm penalty.
Tango de Muerte ends the jam. Score now 354 Unholy's 83 Res Dolls.
Lining up for this next jam, we will have a 4-3 pack advantage in favor of the Unholy Rollers. Critical tits in the box for the Res Dolls. Hollyhood going to go head-to-head with Ginger Snap as we see lining up here. That beautiful camera angle brought to you by Hinckley Productions. So Ginge up at the front trying to tear through this wall. Does end up breaking through. Lead jam goes to the Unholy Rollers. Hollyhood working her way through herself. Res Dolls trying to play a bit of offense before Ginge gets back up around. And Ginge will break through there. 4 more points for the Unholy Rollers.
Holly Hood still working to fight her way through the pack, getting a lot of work from the pivot for the Unholy Rollers. Goldman Smacks, number 739.
Little Lebowski up at the front of the pack, trying to waylay Ginger Snap at the last moment. She will get through. 4 more points for the Unholies.
Holly Hood removed the cover, trying for a star pass to Ms. Mechanics. Didn't quite work. Ducked around the back and up the inside line to complete her initial pass. Holly Hood still the jammer, comes into scoring position just as the jam ends.
Oh, so close.
But
did get through
not
cleanly
score
on the
points.
inside, but yes, the jam was called too soon. But still a beautiful effort there by Holly Hood. Obviously feeling good about that. We see her coming right in here. Beautiful pass. Sticks the landing. But unfortunately, no points for her.
Unfortunately,
But
half a
style
second too
points.
late. Style-
She
all
has
the
actually
style
now
points.
taken the lead for style points.
I believe she has.
Getting down to the action on the track. Nat Splat wears the star for the Reservoir Dolls in black up against the Gertrude Awakening for the Unholies in red. And Gertrude's through on the inside to take lead jam. Nice job by Antimatter there, opening up the outside line for Nat Splat. She does get through.
Unfortunately, on a cut penalty.
Looks like there was a bit of deliberation on the between our officials there, but it's confirmed, yes, track cut penalty. So Jim's Coins Power Jam for the Unholy Rollers. Gertrude picks up 4 more points. That'll be 8 thus far this jam. I'm sorry, no, that's her first 4. So
Res Dolls also losing Sassbot, a blocker to the penalty box for a forearm penalty. Gertrude Awakening now working on her 3rd scoring pass.
We saw there Nat Splat standing in the penalty box, is now back on the track. Helmet cover in hand. See her pivot there. T-Rex bridging out the pack. As Gertrude Awakening is through for 4 more points.
And Nat Splat recycled to the inside. Having to go back to the middle of the straightaway. Giving Gertrude Awakening an opportunity to focus on getting through the pack unmolested. Nat Splat now also through the pack and complete with her initial pass.
Gertrude Awakening calling off the jam will be a total of, looks like 18. No, that's the wrong jam ref. So 16 points for the Unholy Rollers, 2 for the Reservoir Dolls. Brings the score to Res Dolls 85, Unholies 382 as we enter the final 3 minutes of this game.
This is exciting, Rich Mahogany.
It is. It's been so the Unholies in a clear lead here, but the Reservoir Dolls putting up one heck of a fight and certainly not giving us a dull moment.
Absolutely.
Barrel Roller back on the track wearing the star for the Reservoir Dolls. Shenanigans for the Unholy Rollers breaks through to take lead jam. Oh, Rue Barbarian out of nowhere taking Barrel Roller down just as she was about to break free on that initial pass. Unholy's now able to get 3 blockers up in front as Shenanigans comes through on the inside for 4 more points.
Unfortunately, on that interaction, it looks like Rue Barbarian picked up a block to the head and had to go to the penalty box.
Barrel Roller down on the inside, is back up, has 2 blockers to beat, getting some offensive help there by Critical Tits. However, not quite able to break through yet. Oh, Shenanigans off to the box. That was a
track cut penalty.
Beautiful. Thank you very much, Reaver.
You are welcome.
So Jim's Coins Power Jam now being enjoyed by Barrel Roller and the Reservoir Dolls. Res Dolls in there trying to play offense for Barrel Roller, but again, this defense of the Unholy Rollers is just so practiced at coming together and being where they need to be to hold back these jammers. Barrel Roller forced to the inside. Outside is open, but just coming in at the last moment are the Rue Barbarian and the Manipulator, able to force Barrel Roller to the outside as Shenanigans is back on the track. with a quick scoring pass. 4 points up for the Unholies.
And Shenanigans zipping through on the inside, picking up 4 more points for the Unholies. Once again.
Shenanigans looking for a few more points as the jam comes down to the last few seconds. She will end up picking all 4 points up for the Unholy Rollers. 16-point jam, holding the Res Dolls down to 0. Got our instant replay there. Shenanigans dancing on the inside line, runs out of it. Pick up those last few points.
Excellent work.
And we line up for what may well be the final jam of this contest, Reaver. Looks like both teams are at full strength going this last jam.
And it looks like we're going to have Holly Hood and Tango de Muerte as our jammers for this last jam of the game.
Tango de Muerte up at the front trying to get by Cyanide. Can't hold her back forever. Lead jam goes back to Tango de Muerte.
Holly Hood, meanwhile, finds an opening on the outside and completes her initial pass.
So that'll be 8 lead jams in a row to bring this game down for the Unholy Rollers. Tango de Muerte through now, picks up 4 points.
And our game clock has ended. Tango de Muerte ends the jam. That brings our unofficial final to 402 Unholies, 86 Res Dolls.
Wow, what an action-packed game, Reaver. You know what this means. The Unholy Rollers are heading on to the Madison Roller Derby Season 15 Finals. And they have nothing to do for the rest of the day but await the knowledge of who their opponent will be.
Who will they play?
Will it be the Vaudeville Vixens?
Perhaps.
Will it be the Quad Squad, reigning champions, current defenders of Leggy, the Leg of Champions? Well, we are going to find out soon.
Soon.
As this is, if you were here now, you'd be finding out in about, the game's going to start in 20 minutes. But this is, for you, you're in the future. The game has already happened.
You can probably go onto the website and find the answers to all of these pressing questions and more. Links for our sponsors, dates and details on how to purchase tickets for the May 18th finals.
Yep.
All kinds of good little gems on the interwebs.
Yep, just head out to MadisonRollerDerby.org and you can have all the information you could hope for out there. Well, thank you all so much for joining us. I've had a great time. I am Rich Mahogany.
I'm the Goram Reaver.
We'll see you next time.
Take care.